Hey guys, this is Drew Douglas, and we are back for WordPress for Designers Day 8. And today is going to be all about the comments.php file and our comments template, and just exactly how to display our comments on our individual articles and on our WordPress blog that we have going. I know a lot of you have asked about how to do the comments and how to do a lot of different things with them. So today I'm going to do my best to just cover the basics of getting our comments to display, and then getting our form to display, and going over some miscellaneous comment tags and features that we can use. And then in day 9, we will go over some more advanced features of the comments.php section, something like threading in our comments, how to reply and thread our WordPress comments. We'll cover that in day 9. So we're going to kind of break this comments up over 2 series, since it's the most intense, or not intense, but it's kind of the most advanced thing that we've dealt with so far. Um, I don't know how intense a comments file can be, so let's move on with that said. Um, Before I got to doing this, I really was considering whether to just kind of copy and paste from a default file and then walk you guys through it, or if I should just start from scratch or from the codex, or how I should do it. And I came to the conclusion that, well, we've been doing everything from scratch, so we might as well do that. And I found a really excellent article on NetTouch, which is one of Envato's sister sites, and it's by Gilles Mize, I want to say. I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. But he wrote an excellent article, and it talks a lot about the comments.php file, and I'm going to link to that below because we're going to use some of the code in his article to get us started, and then code from other areas. But I'll be sure to give you guys a bunch of links. And let's go ahead and open up our code editor, and we'll close out anything that we have open right now. And like I said, today we're going to go through pretty much 3 steps. The first thing is going to be to just get our comment loop started so we can just display comments. So just learn how to display any comments that have already been approved. The second part will be displaying the form. And the third part will be adding some miscellaneous features and a few security checks that we need for a basic comments page. And that's really it. So let's go ahead and get started. And we will create a new file, and we will call it comments.php. Pretty simple. We'll open up comments.php. The first thing we need to do is run a conditional statement and say if there are any comments to display, then do this. So let's go ahead and do php if, with the variable comments, which is a variable we can use, colon. We'll start an ordered list so we can number our comments as they're displayed. And then we'll start a PHP for each loop. So we'll say for each comments as comment, and that's singular on the second one. Okay, so for each comments as comment, do something. So now we're going to open up a list tag. We'll close our list tag, and inside our list tag we want to be able to give it a unique ID for each comment, and this will help us do things like styling alternative comments, and it's just useful to give each list element a different ID. And we can do that easily by just saying ID equals comment, and we'll say PHP comment ID. Like that, and just like so. And we don't need to close that off actually quite yet. Okay, so inside our list tag, we'll do another conditional check here, and now what we need to do is check to see if the user has already posted their comment and display them that little message that you see sometimes when you comment on a blog that says your comment is currently undergoing moderation, or we will approve your comment shortly. Something to let them know that their comment has already been posted, but it's awaiting moderation. So we'll use another if statement for that, and we'll say if comment underscore approved is equal to 0, do something. And what that is saying is if the comment is not approved. That's another way of saying that if statement. So if the comment is not approved, let's just give them a short message, something like your comment is undergoing moderation. And we'll end that if statement. Okay, now we're still inside our for each loop. And now we need to actually display the comment text. And this is a lot like being inside of the WordPress loop when you're dealing with posts and pages and that sort of thing. And instead of using the content, we're going to use PHP comment underscore text. It's a pretty logical thing to name it, and that will display the actual comment text inside of our list tags. Now underneath the actual comment, it would be nice to have just some very basic author information. You almost always see the name of the commenter and a link to their website if one was provided. And just for now, we'll do the date as well. You know, we could do the time and their latest links and all kinds of crazy advanced stuff, but we'll just stick with their name, a link, and the date. So after our comment text, we'll do some more paragraph tags. And we'll say PHP comment author link, which will display the name of the author and any link on, and then we'll just say the date. So PHP comment date. Go ahead and save what we've got so far and continue on. After our paragraph tag, we can go ahead and close out our list. And now we can end our loop, which is our for each loop. So we'll say end for each. And don't forget to close your ordered list. Now after that, we need to display something if no comments have been made yet. Since we've done our check for if there are comments to display, now we need to run our check to display something in the case that comments, there haven't been any comments posted yet. PHP else, whoops, and then just a simple message, whatever you like. Be the first to comment. Give them a little encouragement there. And we'll end if, and I missed a question mark. Okay. So let's walk through all of this before we move on. Checking for any comments to see if we have comments. Starting our ordered list. Starting our for each loop, which is a lot like a WordPress. It is a WordPress loop, but it's a lot like the WordPress loop that we've been dealing with. Check to see if the comment is not approved yet, which means they've commented but it's still waiting to be approved, and we'll display a message. And then we'll display the comments, the author's link and name, and the date that he or she commented on. And we will end our loop. If there are no comments, then we will say be the first to comment. So far this is our basic, hopefully working comments.php file. And what we need to do is open up single, which you will remember is what the template page that displays and organizes our individual articles. So under our promotion class that we added a few series ago, under the div class of promote, we'll just do PHP comments template, which will grab and display our comments. Let's go over to Firefox and just refresh, and then I'll click on an individual article here, and we'll scroll down, and perfect. We have 4 comments. You can see the name of who posted them. Obviously these 2 were by me when I was logged in. Dizzle, I'm not sure who that is, and Random Dude left a link. So it worked. It worked like, and it has done what we have wanted it to do. And so now we've displayed our basic comments. So the next step would be our forms, and of course you could go on and hopefully you would style that and and make it look a lot prettier than that. But you know, you can give your ordered list an ID of comment section, because I think I made a CSS rule to at least give us a border on those. Yeah, okay. You know, add some CSS to separate it for you a little bit. Okay, let's move on. Now that we have that, our next step would be displaying our form. So this is going to be the most lengthy part, but it's nothing too difficult. We'll just take it one step at a time. And again, we'll run a check, and we'll say PHP if, then we'll say if comments are open, colon. Okay, now what we need to do is check if the user needs to be logged in to post a comment. And this is, most people don't, well, like, no, okay. Some people lock down their blogs to registration only, which is the reason for this. So it's nice to give that option, especially in theme development. It's pretty much essential. So we'll say PHP if, and I will go over this all again once we finish. If get option, and then inside of the get option arguments, we'll pass comment registration, and there's no user ID, and we want to do something. And we'll just, we'll display a message. We'll say, just for now, we'll say you must be logged into comment on this article. And we're going to come back to this in day 9, and we're going to learn how to redirect them back into a login link the correct way. But for now, I just want to get the basics of the form figured out for all of us. So we'll come back to this, but for now, we'll just display you must be logged into comment. Okay, moving on, and now we'll say PHP else. And now we will start our form markup. Whoops. And we'll do that with some basic HTML mixed with some PHP in our action. So say form action equals PHP. I'm having trouble typing today. PHP echo get option, and inside of get option we'll pass site URL, which you'll remember this is a WordPress template tag we can use to get the URL of our site. Okay, we'll say get option site URL, and we'll say /wp comments -post .php. We'll close off that. And we'll continue on with our form here, and we'll say method of post. And just go ahead and give it an ID of comment form. One word. And you can end your form. And so now we're going to go ahead and get into our form and run a few more conditional checks here. So now what we have is if the user has to be logged in, we're going to display the message, or else we're going to start to display the top of our form no matter what. And now what we need to do is check if the user is logged in. So for instance, if I'm logged in as an administrator, I would not need to fill out the name, the email, and the website, as WordPress obviously already has all of that information. So how do we do that? Well, we say PHP if user ID so if the user ID is true, we'll start some paragraph tags, and then we'll say logged in as and we'll go ahead and display the profile name and link to whoever's logged in. So we'll open up an anchor tag, and we'll say logged in as href. We want to do some PHP tags. And then we want to say echo get option site URL. Site URL slash wp-admin slash profile dot php. Okay, and we'll close our quote. And then for the actual text, we'll do PHP, and we'll echo out our user identity. Hopefully I spelled that right. Okay. And we'll close our anchor tag, and we will leave it at that for now. We could go one step farther and display a logout link and more, but I'm going to try to keep it as simple as I can for while we're mocking up this form. So now that we have that conditional check run, we need to put in another else statement with a colon. So now we'll say else, and now we need to start making the input fields, which once you just get used to like the IDs and how they're set up, it's pretty simple. We're going to use some basic PHP inside some of the elements, but it's going to be just a basic form markup from here. So we'll go ahead and do, you know, a paragraph and well, input type equals text, and then we'll say name is equal to author, ID equal to author, and value is where we're going to add some PHP inside of here. We're going to say for the value we're going to echo out the comment author like so. Okay, moving on. The next thing we need to add to our input field is, we could add a size or a tab index, but we don't need to do that for now. Close off our input field, and then we'll say label for, lost my train of thought here, sorry. Label for author. And then inside of that we want to say, you know, name, whatever you want to display, but name would make the most sense. And we'll go ahead and close off the label and close our paragraph tag. So there's our first input type. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and move on to our email, which will be one more extra step because we need to check if the email is required. We can do the same thing for the name after I demonstrate how to do this. Again, input type equals text. Name equals email. ID equals email. And again, for the value, we'll do the same kind of thing we did. PHP, echo, comment, author, email. Just like so. And we'll go ahead and close off our input type there. And after that, we'll add our label again. Label for email. Okay, now here's where we need to check if our mail is required, and echo that out to the user so they know that their email address is required to post a comment. So we'll say mail PHP if, and we'll use the variable req required. We'll just, inside this statement, we will just say echo, you know, whatever you want to say, required field. Works just fine. and then we will just close off our label. Again, I can just not type tonight. Okay, so now we have our name and our mail, and the last thing that we need to add, or actually two more things we need to add, is the website input and then the actual text area. So once again, we'll start some paragraph tags, an input type of text, and we'll do, for the name, we'll just do URL, ID, URL, value, do the exact same thing we've been doing, just to be user friendly here, equals echo, comment, author, URL, just like that. And once again, we'll close our input type off, start our label for URL, and we'll say website, and obviously this will not be required, so we can just close off our label. Okay, and we're almost there. Lastly, we just need to do our text area and our submit button. So we'll say P. I always like to start and end my tags when I'm working like this. Start some paragraph tags, and we'll say text area, name equals comment, ID equals comment, columns, I'll just say 50, rows, 10 works for now, and we'll close off our text area, and we'll close, and our paragraph tags are already closed off, and the last thing is our input submit button. Input type equals submit, name equals submit, ID equals submit, and value, guess what it equals? Submit. Okay, so there's our basic form mockup, except there's one more thing that we need to add, which is a hidden field, an input type which is a hidden field. And this will allow us to pass WordPress another value without the user having to enter anything, or without us having to really worry about it. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with hidden input fields, just like anything else. So we'll just do input type equals hidden, name equals comment, post, ID, the value is equal to, and we'll go ahead and use double quotes for here so we can do PHP inside. We'll say echo ID. Okay, and we'll close that. And we'll go ahead and wrap it in paragraph tags. Actually, we don't need to do that. We're not worried about that anyway. Okay, now we need to add PHP, and we need to actually perform the posting of the comments. So that is just do action, and pass it two parameters here. We'll say comment form separated by a comma, and then post ID, which is going to be what actually runs our post method and posts the comment. And we will go ahead and end our form now. Yippee, we're almost done. And we can end our if statement. Okay, and lastly, we can give it a PHP else statement just in case the comments happen to be closed, which is an option in WordPress if you didn't know. Comments currently closed. Tough break. And end the last if. Okay. hopefully you got all of that typed correctly, and that should display our form for us. So now we'll go back and we will refresh. And I obviously messed something up here. Let me go back and look this over real quick. Okay, what did I miss? Okay, I missed an end statement right here. PHP end if right before the text area. Thank goodness I have my notes next to me. Let's see if that helps. Hopefully I didn't miss anything else, but that's the longest code we've written from scratch before, so it's bound to happen. And yes, awesome. Okay, our comment form is showing up. I'm obviously logged in, so as we discussed, I don't need to fill in most of the input fields except for the actual text area. But let's go ahead and log out. Let's go back to our main page, and we'll click on our comments again. Okay, so now we can see, that we can type in any field we want. We can submit our comments, our link, and everything's working. So we'll type in theme forest, just leave all the other info there, and did this work? We'll submit it. I'll allow the connection. Okay, and there we go. And we can see it is indeed showing up. Go back here and go to a new page just to double check. We can also see it shows up on this page just like it should be. So now we have our basic comment and our comment form showing up, which is nice. So bear with me here, and we will go over two little quick security checks we need to add to the top of our comments.php file, and we'll display some gravitars quickly, and then we'll call it a day. So let's go back to our comments.php, and at the top, what we need to do now is make sure that no one loads this page directly. And if you just remember these few lines of code, you don't need to memorize them, but that's what we're doing, is we're checking to make sure that no one is loading the page directly. So we'll say if not empty server, in quotations, script file name, and comments.php is equal to base name of server and script file name again. Okay. Go ahead and give it a colon there so we can execute something in case someone's trying to directly load the page, and we'll say php die, which ends our scripts. If you weren't aware, that's what php die function does. And we will say, please do not load this page directly. Thanks. Go ahead and end our if statement. And the next check we'll do is a password protection check. We're going to check to see if the post pretty much is password protected by getting the post password, and we're going to check the cookie hash on it. And if that kind of confuses you, just follow along. Don't worry too much about what that means, but we'll do this. We'll say if empty, if is not empty, excuse me, post, then post password, okay, then we'll do something here. We'll run another check, and we'll say php if we'll say if cookie wp post pass underscore period cookie hash does not equal the post password. So if the password they've posted does not equal the post password, we want to display something. So we want to do another colon, and we will say password protected post, please enter valid password to view comments. And we'll end both of our if statements here. Okay. And we'll save that. And we'll make sure everything is still working okay. We'll refresh the page. And yes, everything's working fine. Now we have a few more security checks to keep in place. Like I said, if you're new to PHP or you don't understand exactly what all of this does, you can always just keep it in a file and use it whenever you need to style a comments.php page. Okay, so we've pretty much got everything worked out for the day. I wanted to do one more thing, which was display the avatar, because that's kind of the thing to do nowadays, I guess. So after our if statement under your comment is awaiting moderation, and before our comment text, we're just going to say PHP, and we'll just say echo get avatar. We'll pass it a few parameters here. And I'm also going to have a link for you at the bottom, and so you can learn all about the get avatar template tag. We'll pass it the ID of comment and a size of 80. Oops. And that's all we have to do. We'll save that. We will come back here and reload. And there you can see we have some avatars showing up. Obviously most of these are mine, but WordPress default avatar, which we'll talk about making your own later in the series. And yeah, so there you go. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about setting up the comments.php file, and you could actually get your comments and your form displaying now and saved into your database successfully with some security on your comments.php file as well. So like I said, we went over just the basics of the comments today. Day 9, we're going to go farther into this and work on threading our comments and just adding some more stuff. And then we are going to move on to our PSD, which I know a lot of you are excited about. So I will have a bunch of links and of course the source files below for all of you to download. I recommend that if you're enjoying this, as always, you go to subscribe to Theme Forest if you're not already a subscriber. That would really help us out. And happy WordPress coding, and have a great day.